if I'm open enough to explore all these unknown places, if I walk into this vast chasm, this darkness of space and time, that I could actually uncover all these new things that I never understood about who I am and where I come from and what I'm passionate about. The difference maker is the people who were able to use the pandemic and all those difficult experiences as fuel for their passion. Because like I have this thing where I say it could either be fuel in a rocket or it could be a weighted blanket.
Welcome to the Humble Brag Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jeremy McKellar, and this year we are so excited to partner with one of the premium beard and personal grooming products around, Sauce. Fellas, if you need your beard and your personal grooming experience to be taken to another level, tap in with Sauce and all of the amazing products that they have. Link below, use the promo code HumbleBrag, and we hope that you enjoy the show. Much love, family. Peace. Humble Brag Podcast, we are back for another episode. For real, we are back. Hey man, we got a special guest on this time.
Jerome, my guy.
Hey man,
my dog.
Good to have you on, brother. Before we get into that, I want to send a big shout out to everybody that's been tuning in, everybody that's been subscribing, telling a friend to tell a friend. And you know, we're gonna bring that content every week. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us for sure.
Facts.
Yo, definitely, man. Glad to be back with y'all fellas.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? A lot of trips.
Oh yeah.
I play the year going great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of things going on.
In the world, but you know what I'm saying? We gotta live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
It's all about perspective, man.
Perspective. It's all about perspective. That's gonna be the name of this episode.
That's the thing.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah,
sure.
We're gonna get into what we talking about in a second, but yeah.
Control, love your reality, you know.
Say that again. Say that
Control
again.
and love your reality.
Control and love your reality.
Yeah.
Hey, let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
For real.
We got to introduce the big
Absolutely.
homie, you know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Jeremy. You got it.
Yeah, Jerome Collins.
Yes.
Jerome Collins.
What's going on?
Hailing from Illinois.
Chicago.
Chi-town.
Chi-town in the village.
Hey, we love our Chi-town. Shout out to Sean Polk. He's from Chi-town as well.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Definitely glad to have you on, man. Jerome Collins, the illustrious, the great, the multidisciplinary artist.
Okay.
Man,
everything. He
there's so much we can talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because
he's a renaissance
crush it
man.
on like all levels. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna talk about a little bit of everything. You know, just to give y'all a perspective.
Definitely a renaissance man. So we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
We also got. We'll talk about this as well. We
In
got
the
a little backdrop, backdrop improvement. You know, so glad that I want to definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
you know,
and we're gonna get it from. We want to hear it from you because like obviously like you know you go deep with it. We were just chatting up, you know, before we started rolling. It's like, dang man, it's crazy.
It ain't enough time to figure it out.
It ain't. You gotta study that.
Yeah. I feel that. You know, like. You know, first I want to just applaud you brothers,
appreciate it, man.
For just stepping into your passion and being persistent and doing your thing like that. That's big, right? Like I think we have a responsibility to future generations to be the best we can be, right? To walk in our light and our purpose and the thing that we're supposed to do. and do it with intent. And that's what y'all doing. Like from season 1, I was like, I love what y'all doing. I got to come and have a sit down conversation.
Oh, yeah, easy call.
That's easy. Yeah, that's done.
And the funny thing about it, bro, it all really started just like we sitting on the patio, like, bro, we should do a podcast. We just like. Podcast about what? Wine Talk Wednesday.
That's the perfect segment.
Yeah, for real. So we were actually talking about that because he was like, man, what made y'all really want to do this? And I was like, we're going to talk about it. But like, the main reason, like you just said, man, we just some fellas, you know how it is. We're just chopping it up, just talking. But we started a tradition of like getting together, you know, and I think that was the core. It's like, man, all right, this is our core group. We're going to get together and we're going to talk about like everything, life, what's going on. Somebody may be having a bad week, bad day. You know, how can we make that better for you? You know what I'm saying? A support system, you know, and
wine just so happened to be the connecting piece to it.
Exactly.
So he was the wine connect piece. Well, maybe both of y'all. I ain't never really like tapped into the wine culture until I started like kicking it.
And what I will say, it kind of started on COVID for real, like because COVID brought out a lot of good and bad things, right? But like I would say the good thing about COVID was, you know, we couldn't go out. So it's like I was like, Jerm, man, come up to the house. Keith, come to the house. Charles, come to the house. And then like we'll come over, my brother and everybody just be hanging out and man, we just be talking.
That's your bubble.
That's your bubble. You know what I'm saying? And then we started realizing like, man, like we got some real funny conversations and some good conversations, right? Like that we all could learn from. From our own perspective, so that's how we have it.
Talking about successes, failures, you name it. We go into it as we're going through our own journeys of life, and you know, showing black men being able to have conversations, man. You know, that
over the vino,
you know, showing a little bit of excellence and. Let's get right into it.
Speaking of it, speaking of the vino,
a little different.
What we got
different
today?
Avenue today, huh?
Man.
Went to the
different
white
avenue.
Wow, we switched it up from the red. I'm normally red. You know, my fans out there, the red.
I'm red too.
My fans out there,
I'm red too. Talk to me, Jeremy. This is yours.
Let's discuss it.
This is longevity, man. Chardonnay owner is Phil Long. If you haven't checked him out, black-owned winery. Out in Northern California. Really, really great. Well, I won't say too much about it, but I actually had the chance to taste this wine when I went up to the DC area. And, you know, been able to go through a wine tasting event. Shout out to my peoples for that.
Hey, Jeremy come with the exclusives.
I'm low-key hating right now.
Don't anybody know about
but at least he bring the good.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, he did
that.
But the thing is, Mr. Out of Town, though. Mr. Out of Town.
They call me out of town.
Mr. Out of Town.
We call him out of town. I'm like, Jeremy, man, we should get that. I'm out of town. All right.
Like, hey, I don't even ask no more. I just say out of town.
Hey, man, I gotta run. Okay.
You out of town.
This is definitely a really refreshing wine. Hopefully we can get into the tasting notes of it.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. And I just want to point out, it's a little bit different. It's a twist. It's a twist off cork.
Yeah,
which is normally. So I wonder how that's gonna like play into like the taste and if it's gonna make a huge difference. I don't really know, but it says the new on top. It says new twist off cork, which is interesting because you can twist it off, put it back on. Like you know, that makes like a little easier.
I love the idea of sustainability for it too, because most corks, when you open them, you can't recork, or you gotta like damage the cork itself.
Yeah, that's what they actually pride themselves in, is being a sustainable winery. From the Chardonnays, the Cabs, also a little bit more about it. They have the heart that's on here. Phil Long, he's married with his wife for a long time. He dedicated, this logo to her because he gave her hearts every single birthday. She unfortunately passed away due to pancreatic cancer. Oh, wow. But he's still keeping the winery going. Yeah. And man, this right here, this wine is really big. Oprah even included this as one of her.
See, that's why you said earlier. I got some stuff. I'm not even
Mr. Out of Town coming with the stuff.
I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you though, real quick. So, Jerome, before you take a sip, we always get the smell test done. Okay. Here's the thing, though. I can smell it coming from over here, and it smells. Yeah. It smells good. Like I'm getting a lot of fruits.
Yeah.
But
that's refreshing.
So what you got? What you smell?
definitely some fruits and like some apricots.
Yeah,
like
for
some-
sure.
Okay, apricot.
It smells good. So
One thing you'll notice too, it's got like a oakiness to it. As
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that's how Chardonnay is. What Phil
Kinda has a
mentions
peachy
is like,
smell
it's
to
got to
it.
have a good balance of everything. So
yeah. Well, look, before we taste it, we give it, we give our rating at the end. Hey,
Yeah,
cheers,
sure.
brothers. Hey,
Cheers.
Jerome, thank you for
Cheers.
coming out.
Guy.
Because guess
Thank you
what,
for having me,
man? You
fellas.
better drop some knowledge and gems. We can't wait to hear it, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
cheers.
Oh yeah, that's smooth. That's too smooth. Dangerous.
Beautiful.
Smooth.
Wow.
That's super smooth.
Wow. Wow.
hey man, shout out,
That's good.
shout out to Phil.
But it's good.
Should I get my rating now? We gotta wait.
Listen, this is made with love.
Yeah.
for sure.
Facts.
For sure.
You can tell.
You
like,
can tell.
just the way that it's easy.
I want to get my rating right now. I'm gonna wait.
What do you think?
I let it sizzle.
It is,
Mm.
man. It is good, man. Like, I like that. I like it already.
Mhm.
But
I ain't mean to build it up like that, but you know.
You built it up.
you did.
He built the mansion on the
And
front.
I ain't gonna tear it
Yeah.
down. It's still
Yeah.
up there. You know, leave it.
But then got a double basement
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
Shout out
For
to
sure.
longevity. But yeah, let's get right
Let's get into
man.
it, man. Yeah.
Jerome, man, we talked a little bit about you at a high level.
Yes, sir.
We'll allow you the opportunity to give a little bit more about yourself. And, I think we want to dive in many different places, but you can,
Yeah.
whatever is on the totem pole in terms of what stacks up, like what you love and want to share for people.
Yeah, I am. I'm a man of many passions and talents. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I come from a family of 6. 5 via my mom, and then 1 via my sister.
Okay.
And so we grew up in a busy home. I lived on the south side of Chicago. I went to high school on the north side of Chicago. And I used to do this exploring that I call getting found. Like some people say, oh, you got lost. No, I got found. Because like any direction that you go in, you don't know it the first time, but the second time around, you know it. You start to become familiar, right? Like I always say that you shouldn't be afraid of like exploring things that you don't know, because you never know what you're gonna love.
Right.
And that's sort of been like my theme and my motto for life.
Wow.
And I feel like has probably been the catalyst for me, like having so many passions and different things that I love to do.
Yeah.
Including art and music and photography and culinary arts and hiking and you name it. And
all of the above. All of the
Yeah.
above.
Whatever, I think that's what makes you an interesting person in your own light, right? Like from the standpoint of you have so many different things going on, and so like what made you want to jump in like to some of your main things that you love doing, outside of your main day job and stuff like tech and everything? But what made you? How did those passions develop? Like what is this that we're looking like? How did you even have that thought to look at that, man? Because I think it's pretty impressive.
And a big thing too, I think you mentioned, was that exposure. And, that gave.
Yeah.
I know you dive into that.
So let me start there. First question, like, growing up on the south side of Chicago in the hood, like, there's a lot of things that you can get into.
Right.
For me, like, I spent a lot of time watching TV.
Yeah.
And it was literally my window to the world. Like, there was a channel 11, WTTW. Like, and I used that as a catalyst for me to, like, see all these things that I couldn't experience for financial limitations, right? But then also, like, from cultural limitations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Black American from the south side of Chicago with, deep roots in the South, like family in places like Arkansas, North Carolina, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, right? But unbeknownst to me, and I would find out many years later through my love for passion of like food, West African food, that, I have a huge part of my lineage and story that's from South Africa. West Africa, I mean. Nigeria and Cameroon and some of these other places that I got a chance to explore on TV and explore on the internet, but then also realize, like, through my paintings, like, it's in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and through my love for food, like West African food, that the culture is actually in me. And if I'm open enough to explore all these unknown places. If I walk into this vast chasm, this darkness of space and time, that I could actually uncover all these new things that I never understood about who I am and where I come from and what I'm passionate about. Art started, when I was like 6 years old. I was on my mom, like we had the hip hop Bugs Bunny. You remember the back of like Tasmanian Devil dressed like Chris Cross. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can identify with that because that's what we used to see. And so, my big brother had a shirt and I traced it one day. And then, I started to like copy that trace. And I'm doing all this stuff on my mom's bedroom floor. And she's like, what are you doing? This is the first drawing, first opportunity to explore an unknown. And that's how I started art. But all these years later, it didn't become this until the pandemic. I was doing art pretty heavy. Grammar school and then high school, I got an opportunity to go to school on the north side of Chicago, which was literally like a bus, 2 trains, and a bus.
Wow, to get to school?
To get to school.
Wow.
And I had to be at school at 8:30.
So you're early.
So that, you up like 3 hours before, to catch all these trains and get to school on time. But the one thing that it taught me is the idea that if I want something, I'm going to go after it. You know what I'm saying? And it opened up my world to a whole different, genre of expression of people, of cultures, Polish and Latin and French and, I used to spend literally hours after school getting lost in communities and building just friendships with people. So,
it's funny you say that, man. Over the last year, I've been blessed to be able to travel to Europe and other countries. And once I get there, I'm just like, dude, what have I been missing out on? I would have never had this drive as a kid, or never thought that I would be walking in Geneva, Switzerland, or Frankfurt, Germany. Just kind of wow, it's a whole nother life outside of what I know. So my question to you is what influence as a kid did your mom have on you, just being a 6-year-old exploring? Okay, I want to do art, because nowadays the generation is different. Kids are focusing on different things besides, let me go see some artwork or some murals and stuff like that. So I think that's an interesting point. So if you can kind of give us some insight on it.
Man, that's a great question. It was actually my mom and my dad that was, really driving me to pursue my passions. I would say on the art front, I was kind of, I used to draw in my notebook, so I'm just going to be honest.
Is art something you pick up, or that's just something you're born with?
I think
what I'm saying? Because in art class in elementary school, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it.
You know what I'm saying? They told me I had to draw a Warren Sapp, and boy,
it's technical too.
Hold on now. You talking about Warren Sapp? He looked like a cookie.
But I think art is something that literally just has to be. It's just something you're born with. It has to be something you're born with.
Well, that's a good point, because we had another artist on as well that mentioned that they see in colors.
Different.
It's
a little bit different.
So I guess it's the opinion.
I think with anything, especially with art though, I think that it is something that is naturally acquired. It's a God-given talent. But you can train to become an artist, right? People train to become architects. People train to become digital designers, et cetera, right? So there is a path to artistry where it may not be your natural talent, but I would say that everyone's an artist. Everyone is an artist. When you were a kid, everybody started with a pack of coloring pencils and et cetera, right? And the people who become artists just continue to do that. They continue to tap into that childhood sense of wonder. And that's the catalyst with art, right? Because when I do something like this doesn't start with a drawn out plan. This starts with what I feel, with what I see, and being able to translate that from my mind to the paper.
And you know what's crazy? Because this took you how long to complete?
I've been working on this for 2 years.
So 2 years. So within a span of 2 years, how often does your frame of thought just changed, right? So I mean, like
daily.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but I'm saying that for the painting, right? Because you can have like, all right, I'm gonna have this plan on making this canvas.
Yeah.
And then you're like, boom, I'm gonna go this way now, and I'm gonna go this way now. And I think that's unique because, like, going back to what you was talking about earlier, something like growing up and just having like, just being curious, really, and just seeing like, all right, like you said, the TV was what kind of gave you exposure, right? Yeah. Like that same thing for me too, because like, I try to get to know as many people as I can, and from different cultures and everything, just because I just find it interesting, right? Because like we're all different, and we're all, like me and Jeremy are completely different. Like he's an out of towner, and I'm an in-towner,
You know what he is though? Like, in all honesty, he's a connector.
Absolutely,
you are a connector of people to their purpose,
and that's partially why you're so busy. He definitely is,
and he knows how to like talk to you in a way to help you understand how you can get there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's a key thing. Yeah. So. So that's what I was basically trying to say.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. You gotta get your flowers by your
man. Get the man a tissue, man.
Yeah, but that's a true statement though. And I think we all have our own unique thing that we bring to others, but that's kind of where, when you said that you were just naturally curious, right? That's what helped you, like, that's in your paintings. Yeah. I mean, you can see it. Like, we were discussing, there were so many different things,
elements,
and if you flip it, it's a different meaning if you just flip the painting, right? Yeah, all that's like curiosity, it's like what do you see?
On that point too, how do you feel at a young age doing art? There's some correlation with mathematics,
absolutely,
symmetry. How do you think that helped you with just your learning process too?
Yeah, geometry was tremendous. Like, and you can see it. Like, there's so many geometric shapes in this piece, and very complex and interlocking shapes that play off of each other. I mean, I actually, when I'm drawing pieces, I use geometric shapes, to help me. I mean, some of it I'll do freehand, but for archival quality work, you gotta get the lines right.
That's great. Those wave patterns, man.
You gotta get wavy.
Yeah, I'll be all into that. Probably, man.
And that's something I go back to, like challenging different avenues. Like I see in this painting, it's like you get so many things out of a thought. Like, how do you bring that all to meet at one spot to create a piece like this? Yeah, because like you look at it, you see so many different elements.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it, because people probably can't see it like that. Definitely got.
So kind of give us an insight on this piece.
Yeah, so a couple things. So this piece is called "In the Beginning," and it's an exploration of the Big Bang and the creation of life. And also sort of a play on nature. Like, I love plants and flowers, and so you'll see that represented in my work. There's a lot of chaos going on, but there's also a lot of order, right? Like, and you see a lot of symmetry. I wanted to use really bright, vibrant colors, so it's a combination of metallic and fluorescent paint, to sort of represent like the vibrance of creation and all of life. You see a lot of eyes in there, right? It's like creation is everywhere, right? Like, and it's all about perspectives, different people's perspectives on different planes. So every time you turn this painting, it's a different perspective, right? And so it's sort of a play on the exploration of all those things, as well as, I would say, for me, and I didn't even realize it at the time, but one of my mentors called me out on it. Shout out to Ruby Bridhite at the Mint Museum. She was saying that like, I'm exploring my African roots. Like, when you look at the pattern and geometric shapes, West African culture, art culture, is very steeped in patterns and shape and expressive color and symbolization, and that's all about what's represented here.
Man.
About your origins and everything. Was that something you just knew earlier on, or as you got older, you went back and realized that? And how important is that for just people in general, just to know where they come from?
Yeah, like if you don't know where you're coming from, like how can you know where you're going? Right, and so like being grounded in a sense of purpose and tradition, I think helps for us to be able to create a North Star, right? Like something to look forward to. For me, it was trying to figure out who I am. Where do I really come from, right? I know who my mom and my dad is, but what about my great-great-great-grandparents and the folks who actually survived, like, to get me here? Like, you know, you think about that game show ball where at the top you drop it down and it's like ping pong. You know what I'm saying? Like my lineage was able to like do all of that to get to where I'm at here. Yeah. Like I need to explore what that connection is, right? Like who in my ancestry thought of something like this and maybe we're not able to complete it, right? Or did even greater things that haven't even been talked about, right? And so like for me, like understanding that and getting to the depths of who I am and my ancestry, it helps me to be able to reaffirm like this is who I am. I know who I am, but I really know who I am now.
So did your parents have a like huge influence on like this is where you come from, this is our culture? Or you kind of explored that yourself?
Nah, it's just been exploring myself. You know, like my parents, probably like a lot of kids that come from black families, like we may have our family lineage back 2 or 3 generations, but in like 5 generations, 7 generations, 10 generations, we don't know, right? And I still don't know that, but it's like I know that, all right, I have these paths, you know, West African, so Nigeria, you know, Ghana, Mali, right? Irish, last name Collins. Like my mom is your complexion with your eyes.
Hey man,
right?
What's your background, man? What's your background?
I ain't gonna hold you. So like, all right. So I'm with you. No cap. So like, I went let me talk my piece, bro. So I went through like a little test, right? Yeah. And that little ancestry thing or whatever, and I'm just checking it out, and it came back. And
he got blue eyes, y'all.
Chill, but it's funny. They green too sometimes. It just depends on the day. You know, I feel like money.
How you feel it?
No, so like, so I took the test, and you know, when it came back, it was like, okay, I'm not. I'm mostly Nigerian. Like, I want to say I'm like 40% Nigerian, but then there's like there's Ghana, there's some Ivory Coast, there's like there's Tango, there's a lot of things that's kind of like mixed in there, right? Yeah. But then the other half of that is Irish. So I'm like Scottish. I'm from Scotland, and I'm Irish, like from Ireland, and it's like literally. I want to say that makes up like 25%. Yeah. So I'm like, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, if you look, you know, I got a few blondes and the eyes. It makes sense. And, you know, the color of hair.
We ain't need a test for that.
I could have guessed that. So we had to do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, just to let y'all know, I hate when you talking about his eyes.
I'm talking about everything. You know what I'm saying?
We're trying to captivate.
Yeah. So, but basically, I'm Black Irish. You know, we rare. We ain't too rare. You know what I'm saying? We ain't too rare. We rare. You know.
So you know, the exploration of all of those different intersectionalities, right? Like, it's really a play on intersectionality, like all these different things, all these different paths that I can take to one, connect with who I am, but then to also go forward with purpose, right? Like to know that, hey, you are a world-class artist. You are a fine artist. You can get $50,000 for your piece.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? Like
world-class.
Because
like those affirmations that I make to myself, I can make those affirmations without knowing who my 10th to the 10th power cousin uncle is.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But knowing that is powerful.
Yeah.
And it helps me to walk in my purpose a little bit more.
That's big, man. That's big, man. A lot of people don't get that experience and have that
ability to just, you know what I'm saying, create that and create a piece like this and say, this is my work.
But it takes a lot of dedication too. We talk about 2 years.
But you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that you mentioned right at the beginning is the pandemic.
Yeah.
And, habits that you started to form in the pandemic.
Halfway through another amazing episode of the Humble Brag Podcast. We hope that you're enjoying the show. I got with me today the OG beard butter and the OG souffle, two of my favorite products from Sauce, and they have some more amazing products on their site. Definitely check them out. Link below. Don't forget to use the promo code HumbleBrag. Now back to the show. Peace.
Like this was a habit that I started to form. This was really my therapy.
Yeah.
I got probably 6 or 7 other large scale pieces, like 48 by 60, 36 by 48 canvases. Like I just decided to go big because I really wanted to explore, fine art at a large scale.
Right.
And I used a lot of that time during the pandemic. Shout out to Microsoft for the benefits that allowed me to buy a ton of my art equipment.
Shout out Microsoft.
Shout out.
For real,
But I decided to focus on being an artist. All right, let me build my home studio. It's going to be an art gallery, but it's also going to be a music studio where I can, produce what I feel. And that was literally my therapy because I'm like on the far end of the social spectrum. Like I love being around people, and we couldn't do that, right? Aside from video, and so rather than suffer, I chose to spend time with people wherever I could, but to also really pour into my art and reconnect with that part of who I am.
That's big.
And I'm gonna touch back on that, man. As we all kind of like, this is probably really one of the first like pandemics we lived through. And just like, dude, that was something like we really had to go through. You know what I'm saying? It was a time where pretty much everything was shut down. It was no social life. You really just had to tone in on who you were as a person. You had to find, like, some people really dug deep to find, like, okay, what can I do outside of my norms? Going out doing this. And that literally brought out, like, success in a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's one person who started a health fit culture thing. Now she made $100,000 last month just from being a health coach because this started during the pandemic. So while people talk so bad about, we went through a huge pandemic, we lost people, but in a lot of situations it brought out a lot of like gold mines. You know what I'm saying? It really made you focus in on spending time with yourself, digging deep. Like, what is my passion? What do I like to do? So that's good that you were able to create masterpieces through like just spending time with yourself and kind of able to like dig through that tough time. So
the difference maker is the people who were able to use the pandemic and all those difficult experiences as fuel for their passion. Because like I have this thing where I say it could either be fuel in a rocket or it could be a weighted blanket. Right? And so like if it's a weighted blanket, like you sink into depression. You want to go to sleep. When you pull a weighted blanket over, it's
donezo. 10 minutes, I'm out.
You know what I'm saying? But if it's rocket fuel, like
That's real.
That's real. That pain for gain.
That's real. That's the
hey,
word.
put that on the screen. Using that pain
for gain.
It's all about what you do when you get hit. You know what I mean?
And I do want to touch another thing because you talked about you highlighted it. You talked about not only having an art studio but also a music studio. So that's another that's something else that you like. You're a man of many trades, right? So let's talk about the music and how you kind of got into that because we were sitting here and we like, man, we need a little jingle, little jingle, intro. And he's like, the one I got it. He's like, one. I'm like, that's recorded, John. Turn the camera on.
But Jerome, as albums, right?
So one album.
One album. Yeah.
Another one that's kind of slowly on the way.
It's getting there.
It's done basically. But I'm just like I'm sitting on it. You know, it's an instrumental album. So the first album was a neo soul gospel jazz type album called Second Life.
That's what I mean.
Was that instrumental too, or
no?
It was you were singing on that.
Like that song, that whole album. Like I collaborated with like 13 musicians.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
A whole choir. I recorded in Chicago. We shot a video, a song called Generosity. I put a children's choir on it. It's got like 14,000 views.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
It's still going.
Yeah.
So but the second album, it's sort of a correlation with the art pieces because as I was creating the art, I would listen to a bunch of different music, and I was like, why don't I actually create music like as soundtrack pieces to these
art?
Yeah,
it's another way for you to express like what you're thinking, right? Like and how you feeling in that moment.
It takes a special mind to be.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was about to say.
While you're painting, let me create a song to this paint. You know what I'm saying? So that's.
And the instrument. The reason why I did instrumentals, one, like I just stopped singing for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I decided like because with any talent, like in order for you to be great in it, you gotta kind of deprioritize some of the other stuff. Right. So I'm like, all right, let me kind of pull back on singing. Like I'm doing painting right now, so I really need to give this a lot of focus. Yeah. And then music, like I can literally hear music when I'm painting. Right, and so I'm like, let me focus on actually creating songs.
Yeah.
Right, so building a home studio kind of helped me to
be able to do that.
Yeah, pump out what I was feeling.
That's a beautiful story, man. Because as an artist as well, man, with media, photos, and whatnot, it's hard. Like when you're trying to juggle multiple things. Yeah. And like figuring out how to. Like, which one do I want to give my life to? What I want to give my time and my creativity to? Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's dope that you're able to create some amazing work here and then amazing work audio. That's like wow. Yeah. And we just even sitting there with you. Yeah. But also in Chicago, there's a lot of art that comes out of it. Maybe it's like maybe it's something in the water or something. Like what's going on, man?
Hey, before y'all go here. So Jeff, we spent a few days in Chicago before you got married. Yeah. And
shout out to Shot-Town.
Yeah. Listen.
I'm a culture too.
So the Airbnb we stayed at. Yeah. So we walked to like a lounge bar around the corner. Yeah. And I just stopped, dude. It was a whole freaking train station wall just painted, beautiful mural. I'm just like, what in the world is this? Who painted this? Yeah. And then I realized I walked around the corner. I'm like, it's more art here, more art here. The music, the district. I'm like, okay, Chicago is deeply rooted in very artful, very like the music is very like in tune with the area, and that's one thing I really liked about Chicago.
Man, I'm telling you, man, like Chicago has this sort of grit about it. Like it's naturally segregated by neighborhoods, so you got the Greeks and the Spanish, et cetera, But like when you had a chance to experience all these different places and get all these different perspectives of Chicago, like you realize there's so many different artists, different types of expression of art, and the city funds a lot of these programs, right? Like public art programs, which one of the things that I love about Charlotte is we're there right on the cusp of that big city boom from an arts perspective where there's a ton of investment coming in, right? The opportunity to display this piece, which you'll display this, this coming Friday.
This Friday.
Where's it on display
at the Mint
Museum? At the Mint.
So
go check that out.
Hey, slight humble brag.
A
piece that we feature will be on display at the Mint
Y'all
Museum.
go check that out too, for sure.
And little do you know, the Mint Museum is a huge museum that's
if you don't know
decades in Charlotte. That's held decades in Charlotte.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, we took a trip to the Mint Museum. So that's big, man.
Keith is from Charlotte. I'm from Lenore area.
Hey, but he wish he was from Charlotte.
I'm from South Charlotte.
I don't know if we got north, south, east, and west in Lenore. It's one It's small, man. I'm like an hour
Lenore.
It's Lenore, yeah. Like Hickory area and all that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say no. It's Lenore. I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out Lenore.
But
I love it.
But back to the point, man. Being able to be featured in the Mint Museum, that's definitely a 2 pats on the back, man. Because I grew up going to the Mint Museum as like, oh, this is my field trip, or this is my mom. Let's take me to the Mint Museum, like. And I've always seen like great pieces. Not that I was like really into art, but it was always a great place to go as a kid, you know. So that's huge, man. Yeah. That's huge.
Go ahead. I'll let you
Go ahead.
We'll cap that off right quick. At the time of this, right now, that's going to be happening this Friday. But where else will the painting be featured? You know, in the future,
like
or
dates and all that.
Any different things that we should know about?
So still working through some logistics of that. I do know that there is another gallery in Uptown that the piece will be featured at in 2 weeks. And so it'll be on display, I think, for about 10 days there.
Yeah. So just so y'all know, we'll make sure we drop all the current information once the video. Yeah, we're gonna make sure we do all that.
Yeah,
for
facts. Yeah.
Now the question that I had is, man, when you painting or you making music, you ever been in that situation? You ever been in a situation where you like, man, what is this? And like, where am I going, bro? Like, no.
Talk about it.
You ever been like, man? First of all, it's music. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming the answer is yes.
Yeah, but like, you ever been like, man, first of all, like, if you making music, you're like, this ain't it. I know this ain't it. And you ever been doing the painting, you be like, I don't even know what this is anymore.
But the thing about painting, you can't erase paint, can you?
But you can paint
over it. You can paint over it. Yeah.
You know, the one rule that I go into painting or music with is that there are no boundaries.
Ooh.
Like, you cannot put boundaries on creative expression.
Yes.
Because creativity is supposed to go wherever it wants to go.
Wherever it wants to go.
So when I look at a canvas, I talk to my canvas. Before I even paint on my canvas, I say, what do you want to be? You know, where should we go? What direction do we go in? And honestly, like, sometimes it's literally, I'm on the canvas and I'm just letting my hand go where it wants to go. You know, other times, like, I'll look at it and I'm a futurist. Like, it's one of my love languages. One of my strengths.
Strengths. That's me too.
Strengths assessment. Make sure you go and do that.
Yeah, you gotta do that. I'm futuristic too. I'm with them. I think in the future. I live there.
He's a philo
man. One of the characteristics of futurists is that you can see things that don't exist. And that's one of the things that I think drives me as an artist. Like, I have the vision and the foresight to see what something should be or what it's going to become. And then I just literally, like, put the pen to paper for
until it gets there.
See, and that's man,
without restrictions though.
No, there's no boundaries.
No boundaries.
And that's what I love. That's what I love. I'm sitting here thinking as you kind of talking, and I'm like, that's how I live life.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go wrong. Yeah. Like, okay, like, for example, when I was coming out of college, I did an insurance internship. Everybody tried to force me into insurance. I'm like, y'all don't understand. I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that guy. I'm him when it comes to that, right? And it's like, ain't nobody gonna sit here and tell me, oh, well, I'm gonna put you in this box, and this is your box.
Yeah.
Whatever that box is, right?
Yeah.
And same thing, you painting and you getting your own expression. You like, ain't no box.
Ain't no
you know, you can't contain.
It's so whatever I want to be. So if the line turned left,
let's
and
go.
I wanted the line to go right. Well, the line is right.
Yeah.
The line went left, so I gotta go left.
You gotta go left.
Wow.
But you go with that, and then it turns into something beautiful, right? And that's the whole thing. Because I'm looking at your painting. So for example, if we look at the top, and this is a good point, and I'm gonna ask you, is that a river or is that a cloud? What's your perspective, right? You know what I'm saying? And everybody sees it different. But if you flip it, you could say that's a river.
It becomes a river.
But if you see it up top, it can become a cloud, right?
You don't flip it on me, man.
Yeah. And then you see the sun, but the sun could be rising or it's setting if you flip it, right? Yeah. So like, if we really sit there, we think. If you really think about that type of stuff, it's like, man, I'm sitting out to say, like, everybody out there, man, like,
all about life.
you got your own paintbrush. You know what I'm saying? Like you paint your own story, your life story.
Paint it up.
That's it.
Seriously, like it's like nobody can tell you like, oh, you not worthy of doing this or that, or you in this box, because there's no box. Like it's only our perspective, like you just said.
It's only your perspective,
So,
literally. Like, and just like this painting is upside down, you could be upside down today, tomorrow, right side up.
Well, let's go. Hold on. That's talking that talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, and that's. But listen, I'm telling you, because it's my thing. I talk to a lot of different people, man, and a lot of people are going through their own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are going through their own things they got going in their own life, and some of the things they tell me, like, you know, I'm struggling because of this, but I'm like, you can have somebody else who will love your situation, right? Like they will be blessed to be in your situation.
Your 6 in life can be somebody's 10.
Yeah. Somebody's 20 or 30. Yeah, I mean, it goes that deep, for real.
Is it fuel or way to blanket?
It's real. It's real.
It's the same thing.
That's what it's about. Like
all those concepts.
We be so zoomed into like what we have going on, and it feel like the weight of the world is on us. But really, it's like if you just zoom out, it's like, okay, this really ain't that bad. Yeah. And even if it is bad, you have a decision about the perspective of life you want to have on it and how you want to approach it.
If it's bad, how can I turn it around?
Exactly.
And it's funny you say that, man, because I had one of those quick flashback moments today, and I was just like, man, you in a good spot right now. And I was like, you could be in a better spot, but it could be 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, you good, my boy. You good. Keep going. Yeah, keep going, bro. You good.
That's a different type of energy, man. Bro. It's like, you know, I talked to somebody, like, I was telling some of the goals and things I have coming up, like some of my mentors, and they're like, oh, man, that's really inspiring. I'm like, but is it, though? I'm like, because that's just what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? And they like, nah, bro, like, that's your story. That's what you trying to
exactly.
do. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because somebody else could be like, man, that ain't even on my list right now. Yeah. You know? Yeah. But so I'm just thinking about the painting. I'm thinking about all that, man. It's like, man, we all got our paintbrush and we paint in a different way. But it's all going to come down to what's your perspective and how you see it, right? And nobody can tell you that this is a bad painting or a good painting. Yeah. Because that's how you see it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which is dope. I mean, I think the painting is so dope.
Amazing.
But I'm just saying I'm gonna need that. Right, facts. I love to put that in my house. I need some decor anyway. You know what I'm saying? Wait, you come into the house, you be like, yeah, Jeff, bro, this wall is like, we need something right there. Man. This wall too. Yeah. But that's,
I need a humble brag.
We need that. We need that.
For real.
Man, we got so many different combos.
Yeah, what you got in your hand?
Hey, man, you know what I mean? I'll pick up a little something. Hey, man. Hillside Orchard Farms, man, brought to you by yours truly, Jerome Collins today.
Oh, wow.
Wait, all to us, Jerome? What is this?
Wait. He did bless us with that.
We went from art to music
to more drinks. What is this?
Cider. Wow.
Yeah. Non-alcoholic.
We gotta try this.
Delicious. Wow. You know, I, as a part of, I'd say my love and passion for culinary arts, always explore different places. And so whenever we're traveling, I'm like, what's local? What's something that's cool that's local? Yeah. Right? Like if you're going down to, I like to drive. Like that's a whole nother conversation. But as a kid, we used to take caravans.
The caravans.
You know, which is like an 18, 20-hour drive with 6 cars. You know, a bunch of people. We used to go down there as a family every summer or every other summer. And so, like, we would always stop in these little local towns and you get stuff. And so, you know, my wife and I were driving down to Orlando and we saw the Peachtree stand. So I was like, all right, let's go to the Peachtree stand.
Oh, in Orlando?
No, on the way to
on the way. Okay.
Yeah, so I think
Georgia,
20.
South Carolina.
So yeah, we take 7720 and get it over. So right when we got to the Georgia state line, they had this peach stand, and they got all these different peach drinks and then the muscadine cider. So I was like, let me try that for dinner. Like, it's really good with steak, but you can also drink it with seafood.
That wine talk.
Muscadine, good with steak, seafood.
So I got a funny story about muscadines, right? So my grandma's from Winsboro, South Carolina. Oh, wow. Deep country. So she had a muscadine tree, front yard. No maintenance, no nothing.
Yeah.
We just knew every summer the muscadines was right. So I literally used to eat muscadines until my whole face is itching. Wow. You like muscadines?
Man,
I don't know muscadines.
Muscadines make your face itch. Muscadines. Hey, great. Hey, but you know the story about muscadines making your face itch?
Yeah, they do. If
you eat a lot of them. If you eat a lot, I used to sit at that tree and had a water hose right there. Eat them, face be itching all night.
But still,
I love it.
That's not like an allergic reaction, my boy.
Nah, John, you know that, bro.
Allergic reaction times 2.
Nah. Hey, people in Illinois don't know about no down south country muscadine.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Nah, you good. You good.
Nah, he was coming out my hometown. I don't like that.
Yeah, definitely came in.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, my good sir.
Oh, he missing it with that Eli.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna make it.
Oh, this smells good.
It smells real good. I was smelling it too.
That smells real good. Pour me a little more.
Yeah, give me
We
some.
cutting this
Get
up.
some. Yeah, we're gonna cut it up.
We cut this up.
We're gonna cut it up. Yeah.
Hey, nah, it sounds real good.
Put that thing in the refrigerator for a couple hours.
Yep.
On a hot summer day.
Man.
Get you some muscadine cider.
Bro, that's good, bro.
For that,
It smells good. I ain't gonna lie, I smelled that. I'm like,
good.
It's really good, right?
This is super good.
Yeah.
but it's
Wow.
It smells oaky too. Like,
ooh.
That's good, bro. That's awesome.
Hold on. But where did you say you
hey,
got
hold on.
Wait,
It tastes like that.
Where you get this from?
Church juice.
Not the chameleon? The chameleon? Was it the church juice? He said the church juice. He just had Easter, but.
Just had Easter.
We just had fast.
I love it. I mean.
Alright, the church juice.
Okay.
We're good.
So it's the peach stand.
Okay.
It's in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get you the information.
Please.
Driving.
Cause you know I just moved back from Georgia. I lived in Gainesville for 3.5 years.
I can imagine you mix this with something.
Oh my goodness,
boy!
You can have it straight, but like
bro, it smells like the bread from the communion, boy.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Great.
I'm gonna have to definitely add that to the little concoction.
Can you order it or you gotta go pick it
Pair
up?
that with some thyme, a little bit of bitters, a little bit of lemon juice.
I'm thinking all tequila.
And a little bit of tequila.
Can you order this online or you gotta
order
pick up in the store? Yeah.
But you know what you can do?
Oh, this fire.
This is hard, man. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't even expecting this to be this good. It's fire.
No lie.
Jerome dropping some stuff on us, man.
We appreciate.
I was saving it for a special occasion.
I hope you got another bottle at the crib.
Well, I got a peach cider one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is equally as delicious.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, but we'll drop the location for y'all because I'm telling you, go pick it up. I'm going there.
Yeah, it's good. Definitely.
Hey man, we'll have to pull up and talk a little something.
Yeah. We're gonna do a whole episode down there.
Down there.
On the property where they grow it at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Facts.
For you, Jerome, so the culmination of everything, man, art, music, just expression and everything. What's like most passionate or the thing that you say like, man, this is what I want to bring more to the world from here.
That's a great question.
Like what is that for JC? What's next and everything.
I just really want to inspire people that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. Whatever your goal is in life, whatever your desire, whatever your strength, whatever your passion, you should explore it. And you should explore without the boxes that we put on things that we do in this life, right? Like, it's all about your perspective. You can be upside down today and you'll be right side up tomorrow. And so if you just hold steady to whatever dream it is that you want to achieve, you can achieve it, right? Like, you just got to put in the work, right? Make those phone calls, write down those goals. Continue to write them down, right? Like I have a list, running list, 10 goals a year. And if I don't achieve all 10, I actually don't expect to achieve all 10. Mm-hmm. And I put those goals on the list and they have to be lofty. Mm-hmm. And, another one of my mentors, shout out to Tony Martin, who tells me that whatever you want to do in life, if it doesn't take a lot of people to achieve it, your goal is too small.
Yes.
Right? And so, set lofty goals. I mean, stratospheric goals. I want to be a world-renowned artist. I want to be able to use all of my talents at the same time as my brand. Mm-hmm. Right? That's my goal. Right? Professionally and creatively. But I want to be able to do it in a way where I inspire other people to go and do it. Yeah. Keep going. That's my motto. Keep going. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you never know what you can achieve until you actually decide to do it and stick with it. Keep that North Star no matter what's going on day and night. 5 years, 10 years from now, you should be talking about the same thing. But the difference is that even if you haven't achieved it, you set that goal so high.
You're making strides.
You're making strides. So, what I'm saying? If you aim for the stars and you land on the moon,
with good money,
you're there.
You
literally landed on a star.
You up.
So, I think that's interesting. I'm going to talk about from the perspective of our group, right? Some of the things we talk about is, how can we get the things that we want, right? And I think, like you said, I need to go back into that practice, right? Because I think even for myself, I've achieved almost everything I've ever written down. But for some reason, I got lazy and I stopped writing down because you get complacent where you at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then it's
I had that this weekend.
Yeah, you feel me? And so it's one of those things where it's man,
what's next?
Let's get back to the roots. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not that, because it's a different situation, right? We going from when we were in college or high school, trying to get to college, and we get to college, and then we get out of college, and then we achieve some of those goals. It's all right, we doing. But then it's well, what now? But there's so many more things to keep going and chasing after because it's the lofty goals, right? Yeah. It's the goals where it's man, I'm trying to hit this, and this. And we want our whole, first of all, I told the team, I want all of us to do that. But not just us. I want our viewers. I want everybody else. Man, hit your goals, man. Surpass your goals. Yeah, and come up with even more loftier goals, right? And I think that's the
keep going.
Prove it to yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. You're not proving it to anybody else, like you said, but just yourself, because it's your perspective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What you may want to do, or one of y'all may want to do, that's something that y'all focus on. That may not be important to me, but that's okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's your goal. Yeah. And I got home. So it's I think that's, man, I love what you just said though. It's you gotta really shoot for it though. You can't get no goal you're gonna achieve. Yeah. You know you're gonna achieve that. Yeah. Let's get bigger and better goals and I think a lot of that comes up from talking to the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
You mentioned
you have my bad. So you have run rate goals and you have stretch goals. Mm-hmm. Right. Run rate is whatever I'm currently doing.
Right.
If I just maintain the status quo,
you're gonna do that.
Then I'm gonna achieve X, Y, Z. Right. But how can we stretch? How can we surpass the boundary that we set on that stretch goal to achieve exponential growth? Mm-hmm. And it happens. People doing it who are really walking in their purpose.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Hart.
Yeah. That's a great example.
That dude is walking in his purpose, and he's been able to capitalize on every single thing where everything is now paying dividends on top of dividends on top of dividends because he discovered his passion.
I heard his latest thing. He was because I follow Kevin Hart a lot because he's but the iHeart, he's man, we own our shows. Yeah. So when we go in and we do a show, he said, I'm paying the money for the show. Yeah. But I'm also getting all the profit from the show. Yeah. So the revenue that they're generating is outrageous. He cleared $100 million in one show. And you talking about a stand-up comedian. Yeah. Bro, that doesn't happen. And you look at it from Dave Chappelle's perspective, which I love Dave Chappelle, but you look at it from his perspective, he was offered 50 million. He turned that down. Kevin Hart paid attention, and he's doing it completely different. He's like doing it the way that it should be done. Where if you think about Dave Chappelle doing that, it'd be outrageous. Yeah, because he's the biggest. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
And so you think about it from that perspective, like even if you look at like when I try looking at my own life, it's like, okay, how can I do that same level? But what my goals, right? Yeah. Like that's interesting though. It's that's why I said like it's how the biggest thing I've learned so far is like you got to talk to people who are further than you, but you also got to talk to people who understand where you're trying to go. Yeah. So that like,
and they give you that flexibility.
They give you
to dream
exactly.
So on that point, that's what I was going to ask you was. Throughout our whole entire conversation, you've mentioned people that you're speaking with that's giving you advice, mentors and things. How important is that, man? And like, I've been thinking about this whole process of like having a board of advisors for myself and things like that.
That's tough,
we do that, you know, like how important is that for you? You know?
Man, it is essential. It's business critical. It's life critical. Right. To have that board of directors, and it's a combination of advisors, mentors. You know, and those mentors can be folks who are close mentors and far mentors. Far mentors are people that you don't get a chance to speak with, but you might follow them on social media, or you might see them in person, right? But you really make an effort to listen to what they say.
That could be like the Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
So you can have a mentor without ever speaking to someone.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's a gem.
You can
have a mentor without ever speaking to someone.
Absolutely.
Write that down.
But then the close mentors.
Close mentors are everyday. You know, they can be everyday people, but they can also be, you know, folks that you make an effort to go after, who may not be every day, but you pull them into your orbit. Right, by being intentional. We all got the same 24 hours in a day, right? But how do you spend that 24 hours? And how impactful can it be? Like reaching out to the people who you want to be mentors and sponsors, right? Because it's mentors and sponsors. And sponsors are the people who can bring you into the room. Ruby Britheit at the Mint Museum is a sponsor, right? She can bring me into the room. That's a relationship that I've been cultivating for the past 7 years on purpose.
Wow! But
she is amazing in what she does.
I want you to make sure that. So that's one of the biggest. That's a big gem, and I want to make sure that they don't go over people's heads because so like the sponsorship and mentorship is two completely different things. So my last job, I learned about sponsorship, which I should have been knew about it, but I learned about it during that time, and I had a sponsor without knowing I had a sponsor, if that makes sense. So basically, like, cause you don't necessarily know your sponsor is your sponsor until they start talking that talk behind them doors, and you be like, oh, he said that, and you don't know how much pull. So like, my sponsor, my last company, he was like chief executive officer of HR, and he pulled me into any room I wanted to be into. But I never knew that though, and all because we our first conversations came from cars, bro. Yeah, you know, like we were talking about like I was like, I like your car, I like your car, and we started talking. Boom, and we chopped it up, and then we just kept. It was low key like a far type of mentorship, and behind closed doors, he's like, hey Jeff, like what you got going on? I told him. He's like, okay. They didn't even tell me. I get an interview, and it was because of him. And they go, oh yeah, like such and such told me that, you know, you're a really great guy, and we want to meet with you. I'm like, dang, that's a sponsor. And so that
speaking about you behind closed doors.
And that's what I want to make sure people understand. Like your mentor is going to be like your everyday, like they helping guide you through life. Your sponsor is one of those individuals that you don't necessarily know they're advocating for you. But they're advocating for you.
They are.
And they got the pull.
And they got pull. I mean, they're like up the chain, right? Where people are going to listen. And I think that's
life-changing decisions.
That's so I just want to make sure that didn't go off y'all head because like I just learned that. And it's hard finding a sponsor because people gotta believe in you. right? But you make them believe in you by you believing in yourself for one. But you got to have, first of all, you have lofty goals, and you got to go after it. People don't want nobody who's
unapologetically.
Unapologetically. And people don't want people who are just stagnant or going at the, only going after the run rate.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't.
Especially because like no one gets more than 24 hours. A day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the run rate of our 24 hours is very different.
Yep.
Depending on our value.
Yep.
And the things that we do and the impact that we drive.
Yep.
Right. And so getting around sponsors who drive major significant impact in their 24 hours, like that's big.
Yeah.
And to get within that 24 hours of time, that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like the other end of the spectrum where it's a waste of the 24 hours.
Yes.
And we all have proactive and reactive, right? Like
Yep.
things that fill up our space in a positive way and things that waste our time.
Right.
Right? Which like part of the quadrant are you in?
Yep. Dang.
And another thing, like we kind of been touching on this whole aspect on just being able to sell yourself. Like knowing what your core values are. And out of the friend group, like my friends know I pride really well on just networking, like just the ability to just talk to anybody. Put me in a room with anybody, I can have a conversation with them. And
I'm not gonna hold you. Like I want to speak on that because like that was an opportunity. Like he's like, hey man, Jeff, you should come to Vegas, and I was like, I'll go to Vegas, and I got to meet some of his network, and like when I met his network. You got a big network, my boy. Yeah. I'm gonna let you know that.
Network different.
Network different.
Eat the plug.
Shout out to the fam.
Another connector.
Network different. So we get out there, but one thing I'm gonna do is like you gonna see my personality. You gonna know who I am, and I'm not afraid of that. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But I have genuinely good intentions. So like you're gonna feel that just because like. Some of the things I'm doing, you're going to know. Yeah. And so, like, man, we were talking, and then I was humbly bragging just a little bit. And I didn't even know he said this, but, the guy came in here, what did he say? What? He was like, hey, man, your dude cool, man. Like, he's cool people. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's just me being me. You know what I'm saying? That was just me being me. But that was me getting to tap into his network and understanding that, like he said, like, he's all about network, but, like, he didn't have to bring me on that trip. It was more so just like, let me introduce you to some of the people I'm connected with because y'all seem like y'all like-minded people. And we are.
And the thing about it, one thing I've learned so much from, I'm not going to speak too much on this relationship, but the one thing I've learned so much, like, bro, just be yourself because you never know how you being yourself can impact so many people.
For sure.
And I've learned that through this relationship. I'm completely blessed, and obviously Jeff got a chance to kind of meet my other family, and it's just like, dude, like they really, you know what I'm saying? They really tapped in. They really care about you for who you are.
And they genuine people.
And I never changed the way I was. Nope. I've always kept the same mindset, the same personality, and they benefited from that, and just like I benefited from being with them and everything. So it just
learned a lot too. Yeah.
I learned so much, seen life from a whole different perspective. Gave me goals that they didn't even know. They were giving me gems and stones. And it's like, yo, this is how you want to take a family vacation. This is what you want to do. So let me work my way to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I'm blessed about. Just that ability to kind of like talk to people and just bring my personality, what I'm blessed with, to bless other people. And that's huge. Yeah. So message is, don't ever change who you are.
Facts.
Don't ever change who you are. Hey,
your expression.
What you telling JV? Be you or be you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Be you or be you.
That's been my saying forever.
That's it.
You know it. Be you, because you can't be. Nobody can be you. You can't be nobody else.
Exactly.
And I think as soon as you realize that, it sounds silly, but as soon as you really realize that, like you're good to go.
You're good to go, bro.
Yeah. Like you're on your way.
Run your own race, Daniel.
Don't ever put on that fake mask. We don't do the fake mask.
That part. I want to close out real quick, but man, Jerome,
Gems.
Give it, man. You done dropped so many.
Yeah, it's turned up.
You done dropped so many, man.
I'm taking the rest of that home.
How we normally close out what it is, give us 3 life lessons, but man, you done gave so many.
You done gave us so many.
I understand if you don't got no more, but
we're gonna give y'all all types, bro.
Give us at least 3, baby.
Hey, your 3 mottos, man. What you live by, champ?
Top 3.
Too many to think.
Oh man, so hard.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yes.
Passion is your fuel.
Yeah.
Find your place of passion, because that is the one place where you can be your most honest self. Find your place of passion and press that button as many times as you can in this lifetime. 2, relationships are more important than money. Shout out to Michael Brock.
Say that one more time, though.
Relationships are more important than money.
Facts.
And the power of relationships can amplify your money, or upside down, they can amplify your debt, right? And so the power of relationships. Relationships are more important than money. Focus on the relationship, building relationships, sustaining the relationship.
The rest will come.
To transport you to that place where you want to be.
That's real.
And 3, find your tribe. Find your group of people that you want to do life with and do it to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? Challenge each other.
Yes.
Right? But go the distance, drive each other, right? That's the power of the collective. One horse can only do so much, but when you put 2 horses together, and then you put 3 horses together, and 4 horses together, the power and the amplitude of the output that these 2 or 3 or 4 can do versus the one is much greater.
Hey,
right?
build that stable, man. Build that stable. I need all stallions. Build that stable.
That's so real, though. But if you're not a stallion, though, going to your point, if you're not a stallion, you can be turned into one just by the people in your tribe.
Who you if you a donkey, find your tribe of donkeys. You a fox. Find your tribe of foxes. Whatever you are, find that tribe of like-minded people.
Yeah.
Amplify your impact in this
life. Just
work on that.
I was at DB, and then Jeff had to surround himself by me, and then he became that DB.
I love he became a little bit faster. I'm still slow.
I heard some stories, man.
Yeah.
I've never kept him up. He a little rabbit. I was a turtle.
That's real though.
That's real.
Slow steady wins the race.
Hey, come on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We appreciate those.
Hey, man.
Sure,
but
so wait, real quick. What you rate the wine, man? We do it. What's the rating?
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
And it's the THB rating.
1 to 10.
What's your rating if you had to give the wine?
That's a 9 out of 10.
Ooh, I ain't gonna hold you.
Guess what? I ain't got no more.
Hey Phil, come on, man. He'll talk to me, baby.
Because this wine is made with love.
It is, and you can taste that.
And you can taste that.
You can taste the oak in the barrel, which is what I like. And lets me know it's been aged to a third. I ain't gonna hold you though, bro, it's fire, bro.
Fire,
just like you said, 9 out of 10. I was gonna give it a 9 myself because I'm not a big white wine type of guy, but
that's it.
So the story about that. I went to the wine tasting.
Yep.
I wanted some red. I wanted red.
Right.
I'm like,
that's what we do.
They brought out the rosé. They brought out the cab. They brought out I think they brought out some Merlot. It was cab, Pinot. It was some Pinot.
Okay, Pinot. Yeah.
Man, I was like, that Chardonnay hit.
So you didn't even like the red?
I didn't even like the red.
Wow. I know you like
it.
I'm like, Jeremy,
he's a red guy.
I'm like, Jeremy, you trying to get some wine? You bring a bottle over? He said, I got a bottle. I was like, it's red, huh? It's red.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I didn't even buy any of the reds. I bought this one, and then we got another one. We're gonna bring that through.
That's tough, man.
Bring that one through. Shout out to Dev on that one. But yeah, man, shoot.
This one. It's
Hey, 9 out of 10.
Listen, I'm going back to the interview.
9 out of 10 for everybody.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for you too.
Longevity.
Man, 9 out of 10. Hey,
THB rating.
Y'all gotta
9 out of
go
10.
Go get it. It's so good.
Go get that.
And I ain't gonna hold you.
For sure.
Listen, the interview though, like the discussion that
So
we just
many
had.
gems. So many.
I feel like I don't know, bro. Like me, and you got to chop it up more.
Yes.
Cause
yes.
I feel like a lot of the things that I'm trying to achieve, you got a lot of great gems, but a lot of things I'm trying to achieve, like it helps me continue down that path and keep thinking bigger than where I'm currently thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a plan, but I realized during this conversation, my plan need to be bigger. Because it's big, but it need to be bigger though.
God said nah.
Yeah.
God said nah. Bigger.
God damn. You know what I'm saying? So that's something like, I want to chop it up more with you just offline and just
definitely.
Cause that's what we gotta do, man. Like, and I think the more we look at it, I'm getting whole nother perspective just from speaking.
Hey, build that stable, man. Build that stable.
For sure.
And we know that hopefully. We touched on a lot of topics, but we could have went into a whole lot more.
We could have went another.
We didn't go down the tech, bro.
We ain't talking about parenting.
We ain't talking about parenting, bro. We ain't talking about none of that. We gotta bring you back on part two. Part two. Because listen, y'all didn't understand, man. Like we got the whole tech side, and tech's a little bit different, but he in that too.
You know what I'm saying?
Humble brag.
And he ain't just in it. He thrived.
He thrived.
You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot more to talk about for sure.
Hey man, but once again, man, we thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes.
Thank y'all for telling a friend and tell a friend. And we are very blessed that you guys are tuning in and keeping up with the game.
And shout out to Jerome.
Shout out to my man Jerome.
Y'all go check out the artwork.
Check out the artwork.
Y'all trust me. Y'all gonna be blessed with
put
it.
all of his information and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, surround yourself with good people, man.
That's it, man. Build that tribe. Hey, we out.
Hey,
Once
Humble
again.
Brag, we out. Thank y'all.
Woo! That wraps up another episode of The Humble Brag. We thank you so much for tuning in. Just a reminder, fellas, a beard is not made by accident. You got to make sure you take care of it, you groom it, and personal grooming all around is very, very important these days. Make sure that you're taking pride in that. Tap in with Sauce and all the amazing products that they have. Link below, and we hope that you all enjoyed the show. Use the promo code HumbleBrag during checkout. We thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.